Hello, friends. This is John Klein III of episode 79 of Shadow and Flame of Magic, the podcast. And today we're going to review X-Men issue 26 from the 6th volume or the 2001 volume, whichever one you want to refer to it as. So let's get to it. And once again, thank you to Francisco for providing the theme song to the podcast. Appreciate it and you. And so this is X-Men 26. This is brought to us by Jerry Duggan, the writer, Joshua Casera, the artist, who is fun to follow on Twitter if you're looking for an artist to follow. He inks himself as well, and he was sharing some ink pages, and they just look incredible. But Marte Gracia really adds as the color artist. VC's Clayton Cowles is the letterer. Tom Muir and Jay Bowen is the design. And let's get back to the. Okay, so the issue opens in a very interesting aside that apparently, if you're not reading the X-Men Infinity comics, this would come as a little surprise. But mutants were at war across the universe. Resistance was strong, but the casualties were mounting. During the tournament in Otherworld, which is a Sword of Exo Swords crossover that I missed out on, but I heard Comic Book Queer's Legacy review it, and I remember them liking it. During the tournament in Otherworld, Oracle had lost its voice. Sunfire left the X-Men to rescue Redfoot, the forest. She was at death's door after being away from the soil of Oracle, and in order to save her life, Sunfire had sunk her roots into his veins. And we're seeing all this again. So he just literally looks like a tiny handful-sized Groot with a red face, and you see him shoving into his own chest. He's screaming. Weeks later, both of them were dying, but he had promised to bring her home no matter the cost. The Krakoan gates had closed for reasons that Sunfire didn't understand and didn't want to think about. As his body grew weaker, he gambled on the way home. It some like frost giant. Oh yeah, Xim, Sxixim. And essentially, I guess he's like this frozen devil where he's making a deal to get home. But he agrees because whatever it takes. Sunfire was elected to the X-Men when he told his fellow mutants he was ready to serve someone other than himself. And Sunfire looks awesome here. Like he's clearly all ragged. He's wearing like fur that he clearly must have killed some native of this dimension. He has a full beard, a mustache. The mutant with the heart of a nuclear engine descended into a frigid void. He walked for days with his responsibilities stake close to his heart. He was lost, and all the strength left his bones. And so he feels like he's gonna die. So then he rips Redroot out of his chest, and I'm not sure why he did that, but Redroot apparently can talk too, and so he's worried that he's failed his sister. And then we hear a voice, "What is an end, my child, if not a beginning? The last seed of a rock needed but one thing to grow, mutant blood." And Sunfire's like, "Ew. The magic had led you right to my side once more." And then we see red roots being put into the blood, and it's apocalypse, everyone. Be healed, Sunfire, and be prepared, for we will march to Earth, to war. And then he just violently puts Sunroot right back into Sunfire. But wouldn't his being inside his body already have caused the uh, it to grow? I don't know. I don't know enough about Exo Swords or what's been going on Rocco. Then we get a fun summary. Orca's brutal assault during the Hellfire Gala had led to the disappearance of thousands of mutants and left thousands more scarred and running for their lives amidst rising anti-mutant sentiments. Sink and Talon had stepped up to lead what remains of the X-Men in order to carry out their mission, save every mutant they can. Meanwhile, Firestar faces harrowing mission of her own, acting as a double agent within Orchis. Danger surrounds her on all sides as she struggles to avoid detection, and find ways to help her fellow X-Men. And danger's capitalized here, but it's only because it's at the beginning of the sentence, but it's not our robot buddy. The only problem, no one on the X-Men knows about her double agent status, and everyone is chomping at the bit to get their hands on the mutant traitor. Which isn't necessarily true. Like, Kate Pride knows. She's just not telling anybody. And Juggernaut now knows. So our cast is Firestar, Cyclops, Juggernaut, Shadowkat, Miss Marvel, Sunfire, Red Root, Sync, Talon. What a lineup. Orcus Control Center. And so Dr. Statius is meeting with, what is this guy's name? He wasn't recapped, but it's the red guy who's been bugging Iron Man lately. And Status really wants the Juggernaut infused into his own body. We see Firestar's downloading something on a cool flash drive, and no one's really paying attention to it. Uh, they're talking about how Juggernaut keeps trying to escape, and Firestar is going to personally oversee it. The Gulag on Rando's Island had been dressed up by the fascists with a handsome name, the Henry Gyrick Re-Education Center, had detained mutants since the massacre of the Hellfire Gala. For weeks, Firestar played along with the monsters who were trying to exterminate her people, all the while trying to slow them down and slip information to the X-Men. Oh, speaking of which, today is Veterans Day, which also means it's Dave Cockrum's birthday, everybody. And there's no Nightcrawler in this comic, but it is also Nightcrawler's birthday. So that's fun. November 10th every year, uh, which is fun that Veterans Day is like what, the only holiday we get that wherever it falls on the week is the day we get it off. But if you want some Nightcrawler, I highly recommend Uncanny Spider-Man 3, continuing to be in my top tier of the Fall of X books. She resisted, and so we see Firestar has grabbed a gun and just whacks this agent's head. I can imagine so hard that she gives her a concussion and doesn't remember who was even near her. Firestar knew she would slip up someday and that would be her end, and the five were no longer there to catch her. Still, she persisted, so now she's wearing that guard's outfit. She goes into the room with the people who are trying to, I guess, drain Juggernaut of all of his blood so they can transfer the. Firestar didn't figure out what today's big lie would be, but she'll get there, or she would die. A moment later, she changed out of her stolen uniform and prepared to put on another show for the cameras. So she like torches the room of the doctors. This time with Cyclops. She's like, "Look at you, Cyclops. Actually, I guess introspection was never your thing, especially now. Welcome back, traitor. You're making what's left of your life a living hell." Her words were harsh, but her touch was gentle. One thing that Firestar and Cyclops had in common, they were both in the Scouts. And Casata just does a great. You know what? Now that I said his name, I feel like I did not pronounce that right. But I really like his art style. Like sometimes it's very detailed, sometimes it's sketchy, sometimes it's like full on done. Like he like sets a mood of his Casera. I'm sorry, Casera. Listen, pig. Using Morse code, Firestar apologized for not having been freed him yet and implored him not to lose hope. Her goal had been to break him out today, but Juggernaut needed her more. Just take the deal. Cyclops made it look good too. Go to hell, you're a disgrace, Angelica. And you hear a rumble. Oh God, the Juggernaut. Give him hell, Kane. And Cyclops smiles for probably the first time in weeks. The one thing that Firestar would not have to fake was losing a fight to the Juggernaut. And all of a sudden, he just busts through the room. He's like, what, 10 times her size? Well, I was about to check out this gulag, but now that the trader's here, I might stick around and have some fun. They're gonna do you and they're gonna do with me. Yeah, consider this my mercy. Stay back! And like he's about to like curb stomp her, and she like microwave bursts at him. These guards are now here to like assist her, but he just like slaughters them. He picks her up by the ribs, he's about to smash her down. Honestly, I'm okay with that. Now eat this, because he's like, time to die. And then she like throws the flash drive into his mouth and whispers quickly in his ear, "Don't swallow that drive. The X-Men need it, and I'm still on the team. No time to explain. Get out of here and go to the alley behind the old Hellfire Club. From there, you'll be directed to the X-Men are hiding. I'll get Cyclops out or die trying. Now throw me down and make it look good." I imagine she must have said that even faster. And then she goes, "Oh God!" And he just lifts her up and then just like crashes her into the ground. Firestar watched the Juggernaut run out of the prison and spread his wings. Her body was racked in pain, but seeing Juggernaut escape lifted her spirits for the first time in weeks. And he escapes with a whoa! Morlock tunnels. And that's my story. As he hands the flash drive, this looks like it's a tiny candy bar, like in his own hand. And the X-Men are listening, which is Miss Marvel, Sync, Talon, and Shadowkat. And I like how I imagine it's a Gracia choice, but her pants are now blue instead of black. So like it goes from her tunic to her pants are black, like blue tucking into black pants. I don't know. It sort of works. And then I made a Fortnite character of her, and it made it so much nicer looking, making it blue to match this. So I was like, hey, thanks for making that choice because it was bugging me how it wasn't. I could make it more comic accurate. So now the X Men are wherever Cyclops is, and it looks like they need to take a road trip. Okay, they're purposely not saying it because we want to reveal at the end. And Kate's like, I'll go. And Sig's like, great, take Miss Marvel. "Oh, fine." And Miss Marvel's like, where are we going? The Bloom Orcus Orbital Defense Platform. And so Mariah X, Nimrod, and Omega Sentinel are all disappointed in Firestar. Like everything seems to be going fine, and then she shows up and the whole place wrecks. Firestar says it's not her fault. Mystique was there. So this is her first opportunity we've seen where she could have blamed Beast for something, but she went Mystique. So I guess she's just keeping it Blue Mutants. And she explains how there was and Mariah X has that knife she used to stab Jean and Bobby that would take mutants' powers away. And Fire starts just holding her ground and like slaps the knife out of her hand. And so her senior squad are starting to doubt her. And Fire starts crying because, it's a lot. Dear friends of humanity, I wanted to update our little knitting circle on where our struggle stands today. We have achieved much of in terms of demoralizing and destabilizing Coca-Cola. As you know, both are key ingredients in steering a nation, along with disrupting their economy and transit system. Now that the mutant nation is in crisis, the friends are few. We knew Steve Rogers would be a problem, and our countermeasure has been unpredictable but very effective. We did not anticipate the formation of another Unity squad of Avengers, but the good news is our members, powered by artificial intelligence, have crunched the numbers, and a favorable outcome for humanity is still likely in the cards. Ben Urich of the Daily Bugle continues to stick his nose where it doesn't belong, and I suspect he would not be a problem now that his attention has turned to the identity of Captain Coca-Cola. Some problems have a way of tumbling out windows. That's fun. Uh, I sort of like how this is the flagship title. I know there's X-Force and X-Men Red that people are loving, and I'm just not reading. But I should at least be flipping through it. But like if you're gonna read one title, Fall of X title, and you want it to be a crucial title, like X-Men's clearly the title, and that should be the title. And Jerry Duggan's clearly the face of the X Office right now, or the leader of the X Office. Let's discuss the mutant with the dream. Scott Summers, aka Cyclops, has begun to show the psychological effects of solidarity confinement. He's constantly babbling to his dead wife. He believes she's going to return to save him, but we all saw her turn to ash at our little victory party, and I haven't lost any sleep about Jean Grey returning, which is silly, as she returns all the time. The child Cyclops is going to be moved to Europe for logistics, societal, and security reasons. We will continue to push Cyclops to a separate trial. Once a guilty verdict is rendered, we can move ahead with our terminating resolution to the mutant problem. So Magneto's had 2 trials, and now we're going to get a trial of Cyclops. And if you're a fan of Grey Moken Lane podcasts like I am, you'd be used to a mutant trial by now. They're always fun. We've already begun to seed out, pun intended, our science to like-minded scientists around the world, proving that Krakoa is an invasive species to Earth. The first peer-reviewed paper should be published before VK Day, which is that the Cyclops Day? I don't know what VK Day is. By the way, I understand we're having trouble booking musical guests for the Victory over Krakoa Day, and that is what V-Day is. I'm unhappy, and please let me know if you would like me to get involved personally, which I imagine, not to get too political, but this reminds me of when President Trump couldn't get anyone to really play at his inaugural presidential election, and just sometimes it's hard for offices to get musical guests. Laws making prenatal genetic testing mandatory for the X gene are moving through state legislatures around the country and indeed the world. As Earth moves toward our zero mutant future, I would like to address the matter of my personal attaché, Firestar. Knowing as she lived up to her end of the bargain, I would like to offer her a chance to stay on Earth if she will consent to the removal of her X gene, which we know that Sebastian Shaw has done that. If she would prefer to leave Earth instead, I will support her in that decision. She's not to be included in any liquidation planning without my express written consent. In Genetic Solidarity, Dr. Stasis, Director of Human Resources. So he's not minding the idea of killing Firestar, but he just wants to make sure he's in the decision. The X-Men have never been pushed so low as to fly commercial. Well, almost commercial. Shadowkat and Miss Marvel stowed away on a private jet and then phased out of the cargo hold over the jump Hornets. I like how this book just really moves. Like, essentially, it's 3 scenes, and the Sunfire one's clearly prelogue to something bigger. Juggernaut got us moving to the X-Men, so that's transitional, and now here we are, Shadowkat and Miss Marvel. Shadowkat had grown adept at landing without a parachute and swimming back up from the ground. And we see Miss Marvel's parachute opens and she has a branded K parachute, which is fun. Unless there was a plane overhead that would have just shot at the X, because it's just a giant bullseye. And Miss Marvel's like, show off. Oh, come on, as her parachute gets stuck to a tree. Whatever. And then she stretches her legs to the ground to lower her body, which is a very fun. Like, Miss Marvel is such a great character. Next time, try to land silently. Logan, no sense of learning anybody, but otherwise, nice entrance, kiddo. And we got straight up Wolverine joining the X-Men, which is fun. And we see Miss Marvel giving him a big old hug. He's giving her a one-handed hug. Kitty, I can't say I care for you running around looking like Ogun. Which I don't think she looks like Ogun. Like, he wears all black and she is blue. And she has a mask on and a hood. Like, come on. But I imagine it's a loaded, like, he said it to try to wake her up from whatever she's going through. Can't say I care what you don't care. What are you doing here, Logan? Aren't you guys like best buds? And I sort of love the uh, cycle here of how Shadowkat is clearly Miss Marvel's Wolverine, but then we're shown a Wolverine and Logan, and how he's all like giving hugs and everything. So we as readers can recognize that Shadowkat is in a dark period right now, but she will pull through this. She will be better. And hopefully in Rise of Powers of X, We can get Lockheed back. We can get Ilyana back. Hopefully, we get Ilyana and Kate in a room again because they haven't been in a room together in like forever. But it's just like, oh yeah, so there is going to be hope. There, like Wolverine here, Logan here is a because I do like the online idea of saying that Laura is Wolverine. So whenever Logan shows up, we should try to call him Logan. Kenny thought you could use a friend. I had a lot of friends, Logan. They're all dead. I don't need a therapist. Those are Ogun's blades. And I guess having his blades is enough of a hey, I'm gonna call you Ogun now. Maybe we should talk later. Let's go find our meeting friends. Where is this? Germany? Austria? You didn't tell her? I didn't even want her here, but our dear leaders insisted. You know, I find it hard to believe you were a teacher. Do you hate kids or just me? Or am I way off? Is this Austria? Switzerland? So I like how she's stuck on the Austria idea. Like, what was the last city country I said? I think. And then we finally get in the awesome page reveal. Some news, child. You're not in Europe at all. This is Latveria. And it's Doctor Doom of his demon. But does not include D-Man, so that's complicated. But we find that Doom has 3 mutants of his own, and they are going to resist the gates. And this is our Doctor Doom. It's going to be in the title, and I can't wait because I haven't read a Doctor Doom since Secret War. And so this is X-Men 28, X-Men Red 17 came out, Uncanny Spider-Man 3 came out, and it's amazing. If you like Silver Sable and you like Romantic Kate or Kurt, that's a comic for you. X-Force 46, Wolverine 38, Astonishing Iceman 4, Children of the Vault 4, Dark X-Men 4, which I'm excited about. Jean Grey 4 is fun. Invincible Iron Man 12, which I'd be excited about. Wolverine 39 and Uncanny Spider-Man 4. And apparently Uncanny Spider-Man, like all of these are like is a 5-issue arc, so that's disappointing because I would love them to be like, hey, Uncanny Spider-Man ongoing. Like it's such a fun title, everyone. The Dark X-Men's nice. Invincible Iron Man's great. Dark X-Men's great. Uh, and X-Men's been fantastic. So those would be my 4 top tier books. And then Invincible Iron Man, Jean Grey's has been good. Uh, Realm of X could be better, but hopefully now we're moving towards something. But that, everyone, was X-Men issue 28. So thank you, everyone, for listening. And I'm hoping to do my Captain Marvel issue tomorrow as our Marvels tie-in. And then we do an Infernal one on Sunday, right? Today's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then I've got my work schedule, so that's what made these episodes later. So if I'm working days in a row, I don't really have time to record. Um, but we need the money. So thank you everyone for listening. You can follow me on Twitter, Blue Sky, Instagram, YouTube at Jackal SIII. You can follow the podcast at Twitter and Instagram at SNFWM. I got some fun images I'm going to post when we do the Captain Marvel appearance tie-in, Marvel's tie-in, and the Inferno one. So look forward to those, and I will talk at you next time. All right, everyone, bye.